So, German football predictions for the next season in club football. And yeah, predictions Bundesliga, DFB Pokal, and Zwei Bundesliga. And yeah, the top five from the season just played in the top tier in Bundesliga and DFB Pokal will be competitive next season. And yeah, so the Bundesliga, my prediction with that for next season, I've got predictions for Bundesliga, DFB Pokal, and Zwei Bundesliga next season. And Bundesliga prediction I've got for next season. Oh, hang on. Okay, couldn't quite get that all in on a banner. So basically, yeah, the prediction for the Bundesliga next season, I'll say Bayer Leverkusen first. I'll say Bayer Leverkusen will. I'll put it team by team. So yeah, I'll say Bayer Leverkusen to win a second Bundesliga title in a row next season. Will they win it unbeaten again? Not gonna say unbeaten. Maybe they'll lose like 3, but I'll still say they'll win the league with a points lead. With a points lead rather, with Xabi Alonso still as head coach / manager for another season at Bayer Leverkusen at least. He's installed the winning thing in his 3-4-2-1. They play a right enough style to play football for them, and yeah, even with a player sale or so, they've got a bit of recruitment. They've got the winning thing installed, and I'll say they're slight favourites for a second Bundesliga title in a row next season. And then second, I'll say RB Leipzig. Not to the extent of a title race or compete for the Bundesliga title. I'll say Bayer Leverkusen winning the points lead potentially again next season. But RB Leipzig, yeah, they've got talented players, and yeah, they'll have an amount of alright enough matches and results, but not to the extent to competing for the title or being in the title race. But I'll say they'll have points for maybe a second place finish next season. So Borussia Dortmund next season, I'll say third. Got Nuri Sahin as head coach slash manager for next season, but with a €100 million slash 86.9 million transfer budget straight away for next season, the player options in the squad next season are potentially interesting for BFLB slash Borussia Dortmund. And yeah, so that may have alright enough matches and results for Borussia Dortmund for me, like player wise, but to what extent, I'm not sure. Like potentially player wise, it may be an alright enough matches and results with points, but I'm not sure if it'll be to the extent of competing for a league title or winning a domestic trophy. That's 50-50. So I'll say third for next season. Fourth next season, I'll say Bayern Munich slash Bayern Munchen. They're alright enough player wise, and they've won the best goal scoring forwards in Harry Kane, but for a second season in a row, may not have the head coach slash manager for the club in that season. They've got Vincent Kompany as head coach slash manager, and their board are maybe a bit stuck, so they may have a second trophyless season in a row. So I'll say fourth for them next season. And then fifth next season, I'll say Stuttgart. They've got a talented manager slash head coach in Sebastian Hoeneß, and got a start of play and tactically adjusts a bit as well. And yeah, they'll still have an alright enough matches and results. But the thing is, they may have squad adjustments. Like Serhou Guirassy will probably be sold after a 28 goal season and a breakthrough season, and yeah, will probably be sold. Ito, one of the centre backs, has just been sold to Bayern Munich / Bayern München. Waldemar Anton, one of the other centre backs, just got into the Germany international squad for the Euros. So he may or may not be at Stuttgart next season. Left-sided player Mittelstadt as well. So there'll be squad adjustments a bit for Stuttgart, and they'll still have alright enough matches and results. But I'll say fifth for them next season. Like Guirassy will probably be sold, and I'm not sure if they'll release 28 goals in a season like in the next season. Like they'll have a bit of recruitment, but replacing those goals, yeah, I'm not sure they'll replace that next season straight away. So I'll say fifth for Stuttgart next season. Sixth next season, I'll say Frankfurt. Like, I'll say a similar season for them. Like, Frankfurt get an amount of points away, but like they draw and lose an amount, like a bit away from home, like a bit. But at home, they are an alright enough team. Like that, like in the home matches, don't lose many at home and utilise their possession, create chances, score goals, and at home, like yeah, it's a competitive match away in the league as any. So I'll say with their home matches, they'll still be top six at least. So I'll say sixth for Frankfurt. As for seventh, I'll say Werder Bremen. And yeah, Werder Bremen have rebuilt with head coach manager Werder Bremen that's rebuilt them a bit in a few full seasons. Ole Werner in the last few full seasons with Werder Bremen as head coach slash manager rebuilt them a bit, got them promoted after the club had been relegated, and they've had two mid-table seasons after that in the Bundesliga, but they have had an amount of alright enough matches and results in those two full seasons, and won 1-0 away to Bayern Munich / Bayern München in the season just played. And yeah, Werner had Niklas Füllkrug for 2 seasons in as one of the forward players with Marvin Duksch at forward 2. And yeah, in the first season after promotion in the Bundesliga, got goals between them, and Füllkrug got joint top scorer that season with 16 goals, and then signed for Borussia Dortmund in the season just played. But yeah, like Werder Bremen have rebuilt a bit, and they have had a amount of alright enough matches and results in the couple of full seasons with Werner in the Bundesliga. So I'll say next season that with an amount of more of them, they'll be a bit higher. So I'll say seventh for Vader Bremen for next season. Eighth for next season, I'll say Hoffenheim. Like, yeah, I'll say similar season next season, but eighth. Like, they've got a talented player, Maximilian Bayer, that scored 16 goals. But whether they'll have Bayer next season, I'm not sure. But talented player, plays the main forward or just off the forward. They've got Andre Kramaric, that has been Hoffenheim's best player for a bit. And yeah, with players like that and a few other players for this league, I'll say Hoffenheim will. I'll say over the season, maybe a similar season in eighth next season. And then ninth next season, I'll say Heidenheim. And yeah, they've. Well, Heidenheim's a town, and in a stadium/stadion of just 15,000, but with the head coach or at the club, Frank Schmidt, they've from Regional to Bundesliga and first season in the Bundesliga, like finished eighth and may have got a European spot for the Conference League next season. So yeah, I'll say they'll finish ninth, so not quite a European spot next season, but they are a competitive match for teams in the league. Like, they're competitive, they get balls in the box, create chances with the possession they have, they're right from set pieces. So yeah, I'll say about ninth for Heidenheim next season. Tenth, I'll say Mainz. Yes, relegation battle in the season just played at the end of the season. Finished the season all right enough, but Mainz finished the season all right enough with Bo Henriksen as head coach/manager, had team performances, and got the goals in the bit of the season required. And yeah, like earlier in the season, just played like just not scoring that many goals and in a relegation battle for most of the season. But then Mainz got Bo Henriksen in, and yeah, the goals picked up with the results. And yeah, they're a competitive team, and I'll say next season, having just finished the season, just played right enough. If they start next season all right enough with enough points, I'll say a top 10 finish for Mainz next season. There we go. For 11th, I'll say Borussia Mönchengladbach. Um, Maybe a team rebuilding a bit, and I'll say they'll have an amount of matches and results, but to a point. So I'll say 11th for Borussia Mönchengladbach next season. Twelfth, I'll say Wolfsburg. 12th, I'll say Wolfsburg in 12th next season. Like in the season just played, Wolfsburg near the end of the season got Ralph Hasenhüttl as head coach slash manager, and yeah, pressing football as a team, so got a style of play, and yeah, I'll say they'll pick up more alright enough matches and results next season. Like, so a few places higher. So I'll say 12 for Wolfsburg next season. Thirteenth, I'll say Augsburg. Finish the season that alright the season just played, but yeah, they're a competitive team. They get points over the season for another season league, and I'll say they'll still have that next season. Like if they've got enough of the points in the first half of next season. Emir Demirovic is a bit of an alright forward, a bit of a strong forward that scores an amount of goals. So yeah, they're a competitive team, and like Augsburg away is a competitive away match. So yeah, I'll say they'll have enough points for next season. So I'll say 13th for Augsburg rather for next season. 14th, I'll say Union Berlin, and yeah, they're a competitive team, and like, so I'll say over the season next season they'll have enough results to get the points for another season in the league. So I'll say about 14th for Union Berlin next season. '15th, I'll say St. Pauli. I'll say St. Pauli will be the promoted team next season. That'll be a competitive match in the Bundesliga. Like, they're a competitive team, and yeah, it'll be a competitive away match, I'll say, next season, St. Pauli. And I'll say at home they'll get an amount of points, like maybe an amount of points here and there away, but I'll say they'll get points at home next season for another season of the league. And yeah, I'll say St. Pauli for another season in the league after next season. '16th for next season, I'll say Freiburg. And yeah, Freiburg have had mid-table seasons and had seasons in European spots, but had that with one manager and head coach, Freiburg. The head coach slash manager for Freiburg. Christian Streich, head coach slash manager of Freiburg for a bit, and yeah, had them a competitive team in the Bundesliga. They're not the biggest club size in that league, and Christian Streich had them competitive. Like Freiburg's a competitive away match, and Christian Streich built that really at that club. So, and he's just left Freiburg. So, and the only thing is, Freiburg haven't finished the season just played like that. All right, like didn't get many points at the end of the season just played, and with Streich leaving Freiburg, like I'm not sure what head coach slash manager Freiburg will have next, but I'm going to say they may be in a relegation promotion playoff match at the end of next season. It's a competitive away match, Freiburg, but I'm just not sure, like, if they'll get the alright enough matches and results to the same extent, like, they had over the season with Streich as manager slash head coach. So I'll say 16th for Freiburg next season and a promotion, relegation, playoff for Freiburg potentially next season. Oh. '17th, I'll say Bochum. They're a competitive team, but at the end of the season just played, like Bochum are a competitive team and get an amount of results at home for another season in the league. But Bochum's home matches at the end of the season just played, like lost by a few goals in more of them at the end of the season, like very Bochum-esque. Like Bochum unbeaten at home for like an amount of matches. Like they got so many wins and draws. Like, but once that run ended, like they lost a few home matches by a few goals, very un-Bochum-esque, and yeah, Bochum in the playoff, like got another season of the Bundesliga, winning v Dusseldorf in the playoff on penalties, like well done, but they lost the home match of that playoff 3-0 v Dusseldorf, and I'm just not sure Bochum next season if they're going to get points over the season for another season league. So I'll say Bochum to be relegated one from bottom next season. And then bottom in 18th, I'll say Holstein Kiel. Like, all right, enough achievement for them to be promoted to the Bundesliga from Zweite Bundesliga, of course. But I'm not sure if they'll have enough matches and results over the season. And maybe a bit of a Darmstadt season. Like, they'll need to have an alright enough start to get a base of points, maybe. But yeah, I'll say maybe a bit of a Darmstadt next season. So I'll say Holstein Kiel bottom. But yeah, DFB Pokal winner prediction for next season, a hard one. Like, DFB Pokal's competitive. Like, the season just played, 3 lower league teams out of 4 in the semi-finals, and with the top 5 in top tier of German football competitive next season potentially. Like, yeah, it'd be alright enough if Borussia Dortmund won it, but I'm not sure if they will. Bayern Munich, that's Bayern Munchen. I'm not sure with Vincent Kompany if they'll win a trophy. Stuttgart, I'm not sure if they'll replace Garassi's goals straight away. Bayer Leverkusen, I'll say they'll lose 4 maybe domestically next season, maybe 1 count 3 in the league, but still win the league title. So I've edged RB Leipzig to win the DFB Pokal next season. Like, I'll say, like, RB Leipzig not to be competing for the title or in a title race, but DFB Pokal is a competition they'd have a chance of winning, and I'll say RB Leipzig to win the DFB Pokal next season. But yeah, probably the most competitive one to predict that competition out of the 2 domestic competitions of German football in club football next season. As for Zweite Bundesliga, yeah, I'll just say that one a bit. To be promoted as champions from Zweite Bundesliga, I'll say Dusseldorf. They got to the playoff the season just played and lost a competitive one on penalties to Bochum. But yeah, they got to the semi-finals of the DFB Pokal as well. And I'll say next season they'll get promoted as champions. Second promoted team in second, I'll say Hanover. In the second half of the season, they had amount of alright enough matches and results, and they won matches like 4-3 away to Hamburg. So I'll say them to be promoted in second. Hamburg, I'll say they may play Freiburg in a playoff next season. Like, they'll have an amount of alright enough matches and results in the league. I'm just not sure they'll have it for the top 2. In fourth, I've gone Kaiserslautern. Yes, they had a relegation battle at the end of the season. Had enough points for another season's Zweite Bundesliga. But Kaiserslautern had a DFB Pokal run and got to the final and had a competitive final v Bayer Leverkusen. And into next season, that may be alright enough for them for next season's Zweite Bundesliga. So I'll say Kaiserslautern, not quite a playoff, but I'll say they'll be competitive for the playoff place. So I'll say Kaiserslautern in 4th. 5th, I've said Paderborn. They tend to be like top 8 in that league, so I'll say they'll be 5th. 6th, Hertha Berlin. They've had a season of rebuild in the league, so I'll say it higher, but 6th. 7th, I'll say Greuther Fürth. They're like a top 10 team in that league, so I'll say 7th. Nuremberg, I'll say a bit higher for next season than the season just played in 8th. They've got Miroslav Klose as head coach / manager next season. One of the players for Germany's international teams to have scored the most goals, like a goal scoring forward at club and international football. So yeah, maybe they'll get an amount of matches and results, maybe, but I'll say 8th. 9th, I'll say Schalke. 10th, I'll say Darmstadt. I'll say a season after relegation from the Bundesliga, a bit of a rebuild, so I'll say 10th for them. 11th, like a promoted team from Dreiliga, but they won it with quite an amount of points. So, yeah, I'll say they may have that into next season, may have a mid-table season. So 11th, 12th, Karlsruhe, like bit mid-table league. So I'll say 12th, Karlsruhe. 13th, Cologne. Cologne are restructuring and rebuilding after relegation. So, but I'll say they'll be mid-table over the season. 13th, 14th, Elversberg. Finished 11th in the season, just played. I'll say they won't be quite as high, but I'll say they'll be right enough to have a season in the league, so 14th. 15th, Magdeburg. Tend to be like mid-table, I'll say 15th. 16th, I'll say Preston Munster for the relegation promotion playoff spot. Like, I'll say playoff spot, Preston Munster in the 16th. Got promoted in second from Dreiliga. I'll say they may get an amount of points maybe for a playoff spot, maybe. 17th, Eintracht Brunswick. Finished like 15th in the season just played. And yeah, a bit close to relegation, so I'll say they may be relegated one from bottom. And then bottom, Jan Regensburg. One of the other promoted teams got promoted by the playoffs, like all right enough to have got promoted with that, of course, but I'm not sure if they'll get enough or right enough matches and results. It's five Bundesliga. German football predictions for club football next season in Bundesliga, 5 Bundesliga, and DFB Pokal.